Well, hello, 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 hello out there. As everybody's very conservative in New York, Christopher Wright. It is present you with us, sit back and chat. Long time no speak. Hello, you do. How you doing, fellow patriots? Yes, yes, yes. Yeah. So, man, a lot going on. As you guys know, I'm sorry, I've been long gone. I've been upstate to New York. I've been to Georgia, been running around like a madman. You guys know I've been very busy. Sorry for the wait, but I'm glad to be back in New York doing my thing, back with my fellow patriots. You know what I mean? No better place than home. Shout out to the CRA Conservative Republican Alliance. Straight up patriots. Rest in peace to a friend, Fernando Acosta, a real brother, fellow vice black conservatives versus black liberals debate. Known him for since the Young Black Leadership Summit in DC. We got invited by Trump. So we go back, man. He's recently passed away. May that brother rest in peace. All right. So there's a lot I want to discuss, man. You guys know there's a lot going on here in New York. I don't know where to begin, not just New York, but Georgia. So I'm just going to go ahead and start it off. As you guys heard, as of last night, I'm going to post the image here. You guys see Raphael Warnock defeating Hershell Walker 51.4 to 48.6%, giving the Senate lead to the Democrats 51 to 49, unfortunately. So, yeah, I wanted to start off with the sad news. I was fighting for Walker. I was down south campaigning for a little bit of time, down there working hard for him. Scott President was down there, a lot of patriots down there. Just unfortunately, we couldn't pull it out. Where do I begin? Where some people talking, reach out to me, Chris. What are your thoughts on the situation? Where do you think it was stolen? I just think it's one big coincidence is the fact that it came down to 4 counties, and the same 4 counties it came down to were the ones all around Atlanta. And that's the same thing on election night. You guys know me for quite a bit of time. I've been doing videos. I knew on the night of the election, I had a good vibe. They were trying to steal it. And because I got friends and family from Georgia, when I was younger and I was a naive Democrat, I campaigned in Georgia for Obama in 08. Yes, we can, yada, yada. We know the whole situation. Got to go there again. But I campaigned for him, went door to door, waited in line for 6 hours in Atlanta in a church. It was a lot of black people there, all voting Democrat, all supporting Obama. And Obama lost Georgia by 8 points still at the end of the day. So the fact that Biden, they wouldn't call Georgia for Trump on election night in 2020, I knew something was wrong there. The last Democrat to win Georgia before Joe Biden was Jimmy Carter. Why did Jimmy Carter win? Because Jimmy Carter was from Georgia. He was a farmer, peanut farmer in Georgia. So he had a little story there. So that's why a Democrat was able to win Georgia. It was because Jimmy Carter was from Georgia. Now, when you look at the situation going on with Joe Biden, there's nothing about him. How can the technically first black president not win Georgia, but sleepy Joe Biden, let's go Brandon, can win Georgia? Where it makes absolutely no sense. No sense at all. So that right there, I knew something was up on election night. And the next day, when I woke up and I saw that a lot of the states flipped, and of course, Georgia was one of them that they never called for Trump. I knew the fix was in. So what a coincidence! Hershell Walker campaign. What a coincidence! Hey, you got the 4 counties all around Atlanta area still deciding the election. I'm like, this whole entire state of Georgia is red, but the little dark blue Atlanta area with the 4 counties. They said, oh, we're waiting for those votes to come in. The whole state, pretty much all red state area, the red area, their votes already came in, already recounted. But the little tiny blue dot of Atlanta with the 4 small counties, they were like, oh, we're still waiting. And those votes are the ones that, of course, decided the election in the night. So that was a coincidence. I'm not saying that's what the whole situation was, stolen election, and not going necessarily that's it. If you really want me to go deeper with the whole situation with Hershell Walker, I'll be honest with you guys, because I'm always honest with you. I'll be as real as I get. So shout out to pictures out there. Just when I see some people in the chat here. So hey, what's going on? The main thing I want to say is this: is Hershell Walker. I like the fact that we got a Hershell Walker to be able to run for office, because that represents MAGA. And what MAGA did, what Trump was able to do, was he brought America, make America great again. I knew exactly what he meant. And one of the big things that he meant by that is what we're witnessing right now. Every day, we the people, everyday Americans now running for office as, anywhere from local state committeemen, district leaders, up to state Senate, Hershell Walker, U.S. Senate, governors, on and on and on and on. We've seen everyday Americans getting up and getting involved in politics, running for office, which is what the whole reason we have a government, why we have a Congress, what that was all about in the first place was for the American people to get out there. I mean, back in the day, they had farmers running for office, and when they were done serving their 4 to 8 years, not a freaking 20 terms, but 1 or 2 terms, they'll go back to their farm again. And that was just a part of American history. That's a part of America, what we're about. This wasn't meant to be a lifelong career kind of thing when you got people in their 80s and 90s still running in office, and like it looks, it's horrible. That's not what our founding fathers meant for the country to be with the Congress. It was meant, the government, it was meant for everyday Americans to get involved to help bring change to the country. So Herschell Walker represents that. And that's what I respect him. I have respect for him getting out. The couple things I noticed was, of course, with his past, if you look at it, it's a little suspect there. Some things I'm like kind of a little, okay, Herschel, but people can change, God can change people. We all know that. Of course, when you hear him speak, he's not the best well-spoken individual in the world. So of course, that kind of stood out a lot. But the biggest thing I'm looking at is would he have been the best choice the Republican Party could have offered? I look at somebody like a Vernon Jones, for example, who I have a lot of respect for. I think he would have been maybe a great candidate for that position. He has a little more history in politics as well than Herschel. Herschel has a big name in Georgia. My family's from Georgia. I lived in Georgia in my early 20s for 5 years. He's well known there. So I understand having Herschel run in terms of having a name. Don't have to build a name up for the man. He's already has a name for himself. But I just look at the bigger picture, and because we're at a time now where we have to win. We are playing defense constantly. Seems like in the Republican Party, always on defense, and that I have an issue with that. I've had one thing I respect about Trump. One of the reasons why he was able to bring me to the Republican Party, because the first time I voted Republican was for Trump, was because of the fact that he was, told you how like it is here to straight up. He had the Democrats on their high heels, stepping back, second guessing, and playing offense, man. And it just seems like it wasn't enough people behind him to really keep pushing that MAGA forward. And what we're seeing because of what happened in 2020 is we're seeing people step up, a lot more everyday Americans, which is good. I think in time you're going to see change come with that. But there was a woman that I want you guys to see. She's going to be running for RNC chair. And, you guys know I'm bad with names. I apologize. But when I heard her speak on Tucker Carlson, and while I was watching War Room, and they had a Tucker Carlson clip where she spoke. And I think her strategy she had for the upcoming election was a very good strategy that we got to have, when it comes to, just say we ain't throwing in the white flag. I know people were upset. It could have possibly been stolen. Arizona, for example. You look at what happened in Arizona. That was insane, man. That's obvious in your face. In my opinion, what happened there was, they're trying to steal the election. Their fight's still going on there. So don't throw in the towel there. Keep it going. But at the end of the day, that was kind of blatant. In Georgia, what a coincidence. The other state that was kind of suspect in 2020 is suspect again. A lot more closer there, of course, with the race. So it's kind of like hard to say, oh, it was stolen when it's such a close race. But this is something like we got to talk about election integrity, folks. That's something that's very important. That's something we got to really pay attention to. And what I really want to look at, one of the things is, when it comes to absentee balloting is, I understand, this is what it is, because of COVID situation, we have the absentee ballots, the big thing. Early voting is now a part of the whole election process. I get it. If it was up to me, I'll just say, you call election day for a reason, keep it on election day and call it a day. That's it. But hey, we're in this situation now because of COVID that they changed some of the rules when it comes to the election system. And I don't say give up. I say, hey, if they're there, we got to get on top of the situation. If you look at a state like Florida, for example, they have a great setup in Florida when it comes to elections. Absentee balloting, they have counted prior to the election day. So leading up to election day, when you get the absentee balloting, they have it all counted, ready to go. So on election day, there is no what if, next day votes are still coming in from absentee. No, it's already counted. And when it comes to early voting, they're tallying day by day by day by day. They're tallying votes. So when election day comes, they're pretty much ready. Election day is just a day where they see the votes coming in, where they got to count and tally. And that process is a lot better than a lot of other states. I went door to door in Georgia. I was talking to people saying they didn't get even a sample ballot in the mail. They didn't get the card stating where their polling place would be located, like basic stuff. You think that, you know, every person in the country would have when it comes to election information, that basic information. A lot of people I talked to said they did not get that in Georgia. Like, it was just like, and they were coming from other states, some people, and they said, yeah, in other states I lived, it was a lot better process. Why am I not getting this information in Georgia? Basic information. And you're seeing it's causing issues. So we have to really look at election integrity coming in the future. And that's got to be one of the main focuses. I'm big on voter IDs. I'm big on, you know, get educating our side, because it seems like our side is always a step behind when it comes to these things. You look at the Democratic Party, they are 10 steps ahead of us always when it comes to this technology with Dominion and all this stuff like that, with the voting counting, when it comes to people being on the, you know, local state committeemen, district leaders, who are the people who behind closed doors are the ones counting these votes, you know, on election day for the midterms and for the main election. So they have people already ready to go in these areas. And we're just figuring this out. It seems like now we're just starting to get on the ball a little bit. So what our focus really needs to be, in my opinion, is election integrity for future elections. But I'm going to play you a clip for this woman who's running for RNC chair. I want to hear your thoughts. So please, in the comment section, give me your thoughts, what you think when you hear this. I'll play the first clip here.
Challenge to the current leadership of the Republican National Committee, and those reports suggest that our friend, frequent guest on the show, Harmeet Dillon, is considering a run against Ronna Romney McDaniel as chair of the RNC. Is that true? Well, no one would know better than Harmeet Dillon herself, chairwoman of the Republican National Lawyers Association, who joins us now. Harmeet, thanks so much for coming on. Is it true that you plan to run for RNC chair?
Well, Tucker, I'm going to announce tonight that actually I am going to run for RNC chair. And the reason is that, you know, to play off of a famous catchphrase, Republicans are tired of losing. And I think that we really need to radically reshape our leadership in order to win. And we can't keep running elections like we did in the 90s and the 2000s. And we really have to modernize to compete with the Democrats, dollar for dollar, in the ways they fundraise, the way they deliver their ballots to the ballot boxes. Our messaging needs to be fresh and positive and not just reactive to news cycles and what the Democrats are doing.
See, they said we got to be on offense, you know, and we not just sit back and react to what the Democrats are doing. So it's like, you know, there's like Democrats are already ahead of the, you know, curve on a lot of things. And it seems like we're always in a defensive mode. Like, they make a move and then we're trying to figure out where to go after that. And, you know, like I said, this is the new Republican Party we're dealing with now. This is the new MAGA movement, you know, that's taking over the Republican Party. Not that old school Dick Cheney, you know, Bush Republican Party that just sat back and didn't get results. So, you know, we got the, you know, the diagram here. We just we got it laid out in front. But you just got to, you know, do action at this point and get results. And there's another clip with her as well, where she goes a little more in detail about the situation we're in. We'll play that now as well.
And I think that the party needs to realize that the party has become a populist party. The base of the party demands populist messages that speak to them, and not Chamber of Commerce messages, not neocon messages, not warmonger messages. And I'm afraid that the base of our party is not getting what it needs from our leadership. And so after 3 successive rounds of really disappointing results, Tucker, I'm a member of the RNC, and no other member is stepping up to challenge leadership. And our current leadership has never been challenged for the chair job. And I think that challenge and competition is very good. And so I'm hoping to gain the support of grassroots Americans who do not like the direction of the party and its leadership. They need to contact the 168 members of the RNC in their states and territories and tell them that they too want change. And I think that change is popular among the base. I hear from thousands of Americans on a weekly basis about that. They want to see us fighting. Tucker, you know as well as anybody else that I'm a fighter.
Yes,
and I
you
fight
are.
every waking hour of the day, and that's what we need right now. And so that's me. I'm offering to take a giant, step back from my law firm and my nonprofit to do this. Yeah. It's a big sacrifice, but I think it's important for our country that I love so much as a first-generation immigrant.
I love it. I love it. I can vouch for your toughness. It's absolutely real and much needed. Godspeed. Harmeet Dillon, we're rooting for you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, so Harmeet Dillon, that's her name. Yeah, so she's running for RNC chair, and you saw, I like it. I liked her energy. I liked her game plan she had. I like that she is admitting, like, yes, we do have a problem with the Republican Party when it comes to we're not going after to win. I remember when AOC first ran here in New York, and I will go to events, talk to other Republicans, more of the Rhino establishment type at first, MAGA was just getting started. So, this is New York here. You see how they treat him, Trump here in New York. So you can only imagine before he got elected how they were acting towards him at some places. And people would say, just let AOC win, just let her win. She's going to make the party look bad, and it's going to make us look good in the end. I'm like, so you guys are already just throwing in the towel to say let her win, and then you saw what happened. They let her win, and I would tell them, okay, you let her win. She already has about 500,000 Twitter followers. You let her win, let her get in office. She can be the youngest congresswoman in the history of American history. That alone is going to bring just more attention her way. And now she's at over like 8-9 million or something on Twitter. So now she has this base following, and they got the squad, all this stuff like that going on. So having this loser mentality always comes back at the end. Like, we always criticize the left having a victimhood mentality. But what about us with the loser mentality when it comes to our politics? We got to go in there ready to win. We got to go in there ready to fight. And so, I'm all about, that's why I said I'm all about getting we the people in office. That's why it's, again, with Hershell Walker running, that's one big positive about him. I said, hey, Herschel's a fighter, so at the end of the day, he's an everyday American. He's a fighter. Let's get him in there. I'm supporting him. And I do that with any American that runs. I'm tired of suit and tie politician coming up there. Oh, we sound presidential. Oh, we sound presidential. Like that means anything. They can sound as presidential as they want. They can be lying through their teeth, everything they're saying. So I don't care how you sound or how you look or you walk. It's how you govern is what matters to me. And I could think at this point we can see that everyday Americans can govern just as good as a politician. That's what Trump showed the country, is that he can get in there with no history in politics and govern in how many presidents that we had in the past. So, that's my stance on that. And I think this, she would be, a good option to kind of consider for RNC chair in the future. But now to the next up, I want to really talk about was the whole situation coming up in the 2024 election. Everybody's talking about it, the whole Trump versus DeSantis thing. Trump made his announcement recently at Mar-a-Lago that he'd be running for president, and a lot of people expect him. I always predicted that he was going to be running in 2024. I just knew after the whole 2020 election debacle that he wasn't just going to sit back and just give up. It's just Trump we're talking about here. He's not going to go out the way the mainstream media wants him to go out. DeSantis was more, I was more looking at and see, is he really going to run? What's his decision going to be at the end of the day? So, he decided, that he said he's going to, throw his hat in the ring and run. So, I got a couple clips here that I wanted to play. Just one, just kind of looking at, both candidates and, with clips and kind of see, because, Trump kind of came out first, made the announcement, threw a couple shots at DeSantis. A lot of people got upset. Even on the right, there was like a little, back and forth on the right between, DeSantis, why did Trump say that? And why do you have to, post that on True Social? And I'm just like, come on, this is Trump. This is what he does. He's a competitor. If you looked at him in 2016 when he ran, he went down a line with Republicans in the debates and just really just took them out one by one. He was, he was a fighter. He was like a lion in there. So we know how Trump gets down when it comes to this. It's getting towards election time. He's going to be throwing darts out there to, competitors. And at this moment, in my opinion, DeSantis is the only real competitor he has. We're going to talk about Liz Cheney. I mean, come on, give me a break. So, I got a couple clips here I want to play you guys. Just give me your thoughts and, mention in the comment section who you're going to be siding with at the moment and why,
To make America great and glorious again, I am tonight announcing my candidacy for President of the United States.
After days of national attention for his re-election Tuesday and buzz that a presidential run will follow,
everybody loves him, so why not?
Governor Ron DeSantis on blast in this 475-word statement from Donald Trump. Trump calls the governor an average Republican and alleges he's disloyal for not clearly dismissing a White House run after Trump gave DeSantis a 2018 endorsement. Quote, Ron DeSanctimonious is playing games.
You see here is former President Trump, who's looking to launch a bid for the White House. is beginning the process of defining his likely opponents.
Despite repeated requests for comment from the governor's office, we're just getting crickets at the moment, and Scacco thinks it'll stay that way for now. Commenting detracts from positive press on election success and hurricane recovery. It's the same for many other Republicans across the state, not wanting to get between the two Florida dynamos.
I can understand Donald Trump feels very betrayed, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Former state rep Anthony Sabatini is not among them, however. The firebrand, who supports both politicians, says he's siding with Trump on this one.
He's got more energy and focus now than he's ever had. I think he's definitely ready to win. I like Ron DeSantis, but I think he should run in a different election cycle.
At the Capitol, Forrest Saunders, ABC Action News.
Yeah, so he was signing with Trump. There's a lot of people, of course, anybody representing MAGA signing with Trump. But it's interesting. It's been real interesting because I wasn't expecting this. I wasn't expecting DeSantis to get involved, and now that he is, I said, hey, let politics be politics. I'm all about competition. I'm all about let the better candidate win. So I honestly don't see anything wrong personally with Trump, what he said. A lot of people are showing concern because, of course, the elephant in the room, yay situation. And you have, Nick Fuentes and Milo and that whole conversation at Mar-a-Lago that went down, and people were criticizing Trump for that, saying, oh, he's sitting down with a, anti-Semite and a white supremacist. And, and people have been reaching out to me. You say, Chris, what are your thoughts about that? I can't believe Trump, and my honesty is just, look, I've been out there. I've, been on social media. I've gone back and forth and debated. I've trolled people on the left before I started doing video content and everything like that. Milo and Nick, they're both trolls. And I not about giving them any more attention that they already have. Trust me, they both got what they wanted at the end of the day, which was clout, attention, people talking about them, getting their name out there more than it already is. So they got that, and I just believe in not putting any more attention, any more energy towards that. I'm looking at Trump, maybe with the vetting process, it just seemed like even when he was in office, he had some certain times where he had people get into his inner circle that shouldn't be there. And it's just like I said, the swamp is deep, and that's what you're realizing even on both sides. You got to keep your eye out. And, I saw the conversation from it. There was no video footage, but from what I'm heard, Trump was, of course, not on Ye's side and said, hey, you shouldn't run for office. That would be foolish. You have no chance. He got offended. And it got, like a yelling match, and it was ended after that. So it wasn't like he was sitting down with them to discuss the future of nationalism or anti-Semitism or nothing crazy like that. So people saying that Trump is anti-Semitic, give me a break with that nonsense. Trump, anybody that knows Trump's history in New York, he worked with a lot of Jewish individuals in New York for his real estate businesses. He's, went to Israel when he became president, made Jerusalem the capital of Israel. Come on. I forgot the wall they have in Israel where they pray on, the first president to pray on that wall, Jewish people in his cabinet, the list goes on and on and on and on and on. There's no history of Trump having any form of anti-Semitism. So we just know it's just the media playing games. They saw opportunity, trolling occurred. These two individuals looking for clout got involved, just really just taking attention away from the bigger issue. And the big issue right now is what's going on with, to my opinion, is this whole Elon Musk situation with Twitter and the files that have bthem released. That is where we all should be all looking. That, in my opinion, is bigger than Watergate. We talked about Russiagate. We talked about, them breaking the Mar-a-Lago and, the raid in Mar-a-Lago and all that stuff like that. And there's never any evidence of anything when it comes to Trump. It goes on and on. Stormy Daniels. Just every other month we hear something Trump and, he's going to get this. This is it for him. We're going to get arrested. We're going to get him put in jail. And there's never any evidence. And we're always looking at these like soap opera kind of stories. It's like nothing important. And we get caught up in it. And then there's something real in our face that's really occurring. And we're ignoring it. And that's why I'm just saying, okay, I don't even want to show videos of the Kanye interview on InfoWars and what he said. And, he said he supports Hitler and all that. We all know we've seen the video. I honestly think at this point with Kanye, he has mental issues. I don't know what else to say about that. That's the only, thing I can really say when it comes to that whole situation. Is I was on the fence with him. I was glad he spoke out. He said what he said about a lot of fashion designers and really put certain things on blast. I respect him for doing, put a lot of the whole deep state in when it comes to Hollywood and everything like that was going on there. Mentioning what happened to his mother being murdered. I did research at the time when that happened, and I'm glad he is putting that out there for people to kind of research on their own and look into. So there were some things he did say that made sense, that really put out the deep state in when it comes to Hollywood, which I'm glad he said. But at this point, I just think it's kind of him to kind of sit back, take his medication, relax, because there's a lot of very important things going on that the American public really needs to put their focus on, and it's not just clickbait. People saying things just way out of the blue, and now I'm seeing he's going to different places doing interviews. As this he said, I'm with Gavin McKinnick's, founder of Proud Boys. I didn't even look into the interview. It's just like at this point, he's just drawing attention away from the bigger subject. You know what I mean? So let me go ahead and play you guys though. Now, I played like kind of a little bit of what Trump was coming from. Now, DeSantis, at that time with that video I played when it came to Trump, DeSantis didn't respond at that time, but he did have a speech where somebody who was in the press briefing did mention, a civil war, they said, between Trump and him. And, he kind of responded back to that. So this is kind of like a little response he did, but I wanted you guys to play and, give me your thoughts.
No, look, I think we just finished this election. Okay, people just need to chill out a little bit on some of this stuff. I mean, seriously, we just ran an election. We have this Georgia runoff coming, which is very important for Republicans to win that Georgia runoff. I mean, I know around the country, Florida was kind of the biggest bright spot. It was not so bright in many other parts of the country. It was a substandard performance given the dynamics that are at play. So hopefully we'll be able to do that. But I think what people like me who've been given the opportunity to continue is, okay, let's do something with that. And the reason why we won historic victory is at the end of the day, we led, we delivered, and we had your back when you needed us. That is why we won big.
Okay, so there was Ron DeSantis, and kind of shrugging off. Well played with the media. The media was trying to cause controversy any way they can, of course, trying to stir something up that isn't there. And he kind of shrugged it off and said, hey, hey, look, look at what I've done for the state. That's what you guys should be talking about, how I govern, and how I was able to build and help Florida out. And that's where you should be looking at right now. We just got through an election. Why are you guys trying to, just stir something up that isn't there? So, I think it's very well played on both, from both sides. Trump's coming from more the competitive side. DeSantis coming more from, hey, I'm right now focused on my state that I'm governor of. This, hey, it's politics, you know what I mean? And I'm all about competition, like I said earlier. I'm looking forward to, the debate, either candidate, either candidate I will support at the very end of the day. Me personally, I feel this is Trump should run. Trump should be running for president in 2024. I think what happened in 2020 was wrong. He should have been done that way. And, he just deserves a second shot. He wasn't doing a bad job beforehand. The reason the country's struggling right now, we're the inflation, when it comes to the high taxes, when it comes to the economy, when it comes to the border, on and on and on and on, is because of Democrat policies, Biden, energy, you can't forget that. Biden reversing everything that Trump built, and he just reversed it. And now we're going backwards, and now we're dealing with all these issues. So Trump didn't do anything wrong. People are saying, oh, maybe we just get, DeSantis in there. He's more calm. He's more, can reach across the party lines. And I say, no, what happened with Trump was, never happened in presidential history. And it's hard to even bring it up because I get censored for bringing it up. And you guys know what I'm talking about. But because of that, we are now, dealing with the after effects of that. And that even concludes what happens in his midterms, where you see what's happened in Arizona, where you see what's happened in Georgia. If Republicans would have had backbone, if they would have stepped up and they would have fought in 2020, a lot of these issues we wouldn't be dealing with now. So, and for me, for people to say Trump needs to just sit back and is in a corner somewhere, not at all. Trump needs to get out there and fight like he's been fighting for the people, which he's going to do. And he has my support all the way. So when people ask me, Chris, which side are you on? Are you going to be supporting DeSantis? Or are you going to be supporting Trump? I think I already answered the question, but just in case you need some further evidence of where I stand, here you go.
The only thing these deranged leftists care about, the only thing they talk about is trying to destroy your favorite president to me. Have you ever heard of me? And our great patriotic movement. That's true. There's never been a president that's gone through the crap that I'm going through, left and right, left. You feel like a fighter, left and right, and then you get up and you knock the hell out of them.
Can't stop the Trump. You already know. So, he's coming out, man, letting it be known where he stands. He's not going to back down, so, he has my full support. I'm behind him. Like I said, I'm not going to be afraid what the mainstream media is trying to do with this whole, Trump sitting down with anti-Semite, white supremacists, all stuff like that. The only person that you guys should be pointing fingers when it comes to that would, upset about is, Kanye and Milo and Nick, because that's, something that I feel like they pre-planned before it occurred. So it wasn't a shocker. It wasn't like, oh my goodness, I can't believe, this is, something I think they pre-planned. Why would they pre-plan it? You would think Milo would want to be on Trump's side. He was one of the first LGBTQ supporters of Trump when he first got into office and everything like that. So, don't ask me the details of why, who did what. I just say clout, people chasing clout. You never know what's going to happen. Money and clout, just follow those two and you usually find what you're looking for. But, that's, my opinion on that. But one to more important news, just be positive, let's get some positive news out there. One thing that did happen in midterms is we did get back the House. I was hoping to get, of course, almost to tie with the Senate if Hershell would have won, and it would have just been the Kamala Harris vote that would have been separating us from the Democrat. There would have been a slight lead on there with the Senate. It's still, still close in the Senate, so that's a good thing. It's not like it's a big distance, still very close in the Senate, but we did gain the lead in the House. So, of course, you know what that means. We all know what that means. Before, let's just go ahead and play it. It's a beautiful moment here in history.
Speaker, the American people have spoken. They have fired you and have chosen to end the Democrats' one-party rule throughout our government. The days of this chamber being treated as Pelosi's house instead of the people's house are over. The American people will once again be allowed into this chamber to see their representatives at work. Republicans made a lot of promises on the campaign trail. It's time we make good on those promises.
Yes, time. It's time. It's time. And it's time for the Republicans to get rid of all the bark with no bite. And we got Nancy Pelosi out there. We got the House. It's time for us to step up now and bring real change. And the first place we need to go is Twitter, the Hunter Biden situation, the laptop, everything getting leaked out on Twitter. A lot of information, patriots out there who've done the research, like myself, have known this information. The moment the laptop got released from the pawn shop down on the internet, just like when WikiLeaks first hit with Julian Assange and what he did, I looked into it, and the information is there. The facts are there. The evidence was there. And it was just swept under the rug. Both situations swept under the rug with Hillary, with WikiLeaks, swept under the rug. We have a situation going on now with Hunter Biden and Joe Biden, or the big guy, as Hunter referred to him in the emails on the laptop. That information was swept under the rug. And now what Elon did, and I respect Elon so much. I'm not going to fully side with Elon and say, hey, man, I trust this guy fully. There's some things a little bit off with Elon. He's, talk about the brain chips or whatever and all that stuff like that. But, I do respect what he's done for freedom of speech, what he's done, the fight against big tech. To me, he's done the biggest blow to big tech that I've seen anybody in American history has ever done. Him buying out Twitter and just cleaning the house there from the crawl space to the ad, cleaning the house, getting rid of these freaking Silicon Valley radical leftist liberals in there, censoring everything that we say on the right on Twitter, cleaning house there, showing you can still get the job done with Twitter with a lot less people involved, especially when it's not corrupt. What he did was historical. So I have nothing negative to say about that. I just say now that the information has been put out there, the leaks have been put out there, the data's out there. Republicans, it's time to go on offense. No more defense. If the roles were reversed and Democrats has information, this facts, because look how much they go on offense with Russiagate and everything like that, with the dossier. They went on offense so much, the Democrats did, without any evidence. If we put in half the energy they put in with all this stuff that he came after us in the past with when he had no evidence, if we put the half the energy they put in into going after them with this leak on Twitter, we would have people in handcuffs. And that's the goal. That's the goal. Once we see people getting locked up, once we see people getting in real serious trouble, serving time for this is treason they're participating in. If people get locked up for this, it's going to cause a trickle-down effect, and it's going to affect other social media platforms, and to the point where you won't have to buy out these other platforms. I feel like Republicans have to buy out Facebook or anything like that. It could be a trickle-down effect where it's going to affect business, where if you don't stop censoring people from the right on other platforms, you're going to lose business because everybody's going to go to Twitter, because that's going to be the place of freedom of speech. So they're going to have to either get involved and stop censoring, or it's going to cause trickle-down effect when they see people get in serious trouble, where they're going to know what they're doing behind closed doors is eventually going to come to light. So they're going to act like they have some sense. So this is a big step. This is big. I always talk about we got to take down big tech. We got to go after big tech. And what Elon has done is, like I said, historical. It's amazing what this man has done. I'm so glad that these people on Twitter, celebrities getting on Twitter now, like we care that they're leaving Twitter. Oh, Jim Carrey's leaving Twitter. And like, who cares? I can care less these clowns are leaving Twitter. I've cut off a lot of Hollywood and a lot of entertainment. I don't even watch cable anymore because I know the hidden narrative they're trying to push, the agenda they're trying to push, and I'm sick of it. So I don't care less what these celebrities are doing. I didn't care less. Let them leave. They're just going to get replaced by real Americans, real, freedom-loving Americans that is going to take their place. And that's all it's going to matter. And like I said, I'm already noticing even a slight less, I've been in Facebook jail a lot less lately, it seems like. So I'm thinking I'm seeing little trickle-down effects where people are knowing that they can't be censoring us, our conservative voices online anymore, because you're going to lose business, because there's a lot of platforms out there, not just the main platforms like Twitter now, but you have Getter, you have Gab, you have Odyssey, you have Rumble. There's a lot of platforms out there where conservative voices are being heard. So, you need to get on board. It's America. There's freedom of speech. And in any place in the world right now, the people putting up the biggest fight right now, in my opinion, is this country, America. So things are pretty. It's not pretty. It's, not 1776 right now. We're getting out there and, causing havoc for freedom, but we're still fighting. And I'm glad to see that in this country, that we're, like, to me, compared to Europe, we got more fight than what's going on in Europe. I think the country is still showing the world that we're not going to sit back and just take totalitarianism. We're not going to take globalist takeover. We're not going to sit back and take it. This is America. This is the home of the free, land of the free, home of the brave. United we stand, divided we fall. We're going to fight for our rights, and we've been doing that. And I tell people all the time, people ask me, Chris, are we heading to a civil war? Yes, under this Biden administration, we are definitely heading towards civil war, but I don't even think we're heading to civil war. We're already in a civil war. Because look at the time we're living in. We're not living in 1776, like I mentioned earlier. We're not living in the times of civil war. We're living in 2022, soon to be 2023. So if you look at society now, what is the big thing in society right now? Just as much as physical being, it's digital. A lot of things are digital now. I call Gen Z, the young generation, the internet generation, because they're born and raised on the internet. They don't remember a time before there was the internet. So if you look at our current time we're living in, if there was to be a civil war happening right now, think about it. Where would it happen first? It would happen online. It would be digital. And if you look what's happening online with this censorship, when you see the division happening with, people on the right, people on the left, the back and forth, the fighting is already occurring. The censorship is already occurring. Cancel culture is already occurring. That civil war is already happening. It's happening online as we speak. So if we can go ahead and stop what's happening with the censorship online, I feel it wouldn't have to go to a physical point. But if we continue to get censored online, if our elections continue to be affected in a negative way by the establishment, who knows where we're going to be heading in this country. But the country is showing you, the people of the country, the American people of the country, showing is we have fight still, and we're going to fight for our rights. And that's what's important at the very end of the day. So what I want to play for you guys next is my final thing I want to talk about today. It's a very important topic. And it's pretty much the whole thing that's going on with the vaccine mandates to the military. I don't know if you guys have heard, but Fauci is under some hot water, under some heat right now. and he's coming out and making, some press briefings and everything like that because, a lot of stuff he said in the past when it came to the mandates, when it came to, the vaccines and the mask mandates, the list goes on and on and on with this clown that, people are seeing that he's the liar that he is. And hopefully, what's going on with the Twitter leaks and everything that's going on there, people got to go in front of Congress soon and, speak on where they were and where they stood, what happened with a lot of things, what happened with Twitter, what happened with this vaccine mandate. He's going to have to hopefully fess up to what he did in the past. A lot of people are upset with Fauci, and, I just want to play you a clip kind of going over that situation and also with the military, with the vaccine mandates as well.
I'll be asking some tough questions in the next couple days. You're playing a game of chicken. I'm hearing the Defense Department is not getting funded unless they hire back unvaxxed military men and women. How do you think that's going to play out?
Our young men and women who volunteer, we have an all-volunteer army, that volunteer to defend our country, to put their lives on the line, they deserve to have their religious freedom as well as their medical choices and freedom to decide what goes into their body. We know this, and this is a scientific fact. The vaccine does not prevent you from getting an infection. It doesn't prevent you from transmitting an infection. And for young people, there isn't significant evidence to show that it reduces the severity or the hospitalization. The military's become so woke, and they're demanding you get a vaccine that you don't need. So something's got to change.
Yeah, there you have it. Something's got to seriously change. It's a disgrace what's going on with the military. If you guys look at the numbers, I think I was talking to a veteran the other day, Navy veteran, and we were having a long conversation. He mentioned to me that this is the lowest enlisting rate that we have in America right now when it comes to our military. It's like only 1 million citizens are enlisting into the military right now, compared to, I think 10 years ago it was 13 million or something like that. And in past before that it was even more. And you were seeing even during World War II times, we had people, young men going into war, young men and women getting involved in the military that were not even of age yet, and they were willing to die for their country. Like it was like a true honor and it still is an honor in my opinion, but it was to a lot of Americans an honor to fight for our country, fight for our nation, enlist in the military. And now we're having this low turnout rate, and a lot of it has to do with a couple things. The vaccine mandates in the military is one thing. A lot of people say, hey, I'm not gonna get involved if I gotta take a vaccine, and I say, hey, I don't blame them. I'm not one to say, hey, just do it. I went through a lot here in New York when it came to finding work and going on unemployment and just up and down like a roller coaster, just not to take that vaccine. And I can't blame anybody else for doing the same thing. I can't say you go take the vaccine because we need more in the military, but I wouldn't do it in the workforce, in the work field. So I understand that situation with that. And also I think the issue is the feminizing of the military is a big issue. You see people in high ranks of military now who are transgender, and they're focusing on like transgender rights and things that aren't important. Like, you see the left do that all the time. They see to do with the Black Lives Matter, with the whole Black community, where they say, oh, I know what's important for your community. It's transgender rights and everything like that. And it's like, if you really talk to people in the Black community who talk about Black issues, transgender issues is not a big situation we're dealing with in the Black community. It's not a situation you see dealing with in the military is a big issue. It's not an issue there. So they're taking like 0.001% of the population and making it like it's a big issue in the country. And it's affecting the military, where you're seeing the military getting feminized. People don't want to get involved. You're seeing this vaccine mandate. People not want to enlist in the military. So you're seeing just an attack from our government in so many different ways. And it seems like they're not doing anything, or, they're just lazy. But I saw it with Obama. They are very busy, and it's behind closed doors, and they're very busy destroying this country. And one way, the biggest way, in my opinion, to destroy this country is to take down the military. And if you look at any great nation before America, to me, there's been 4 great nations before the U.S. Technically, we're like a baby country in a way if you look at the history of mankind. And every great nation, Rome, Greece, Egypt, any great nation, if you look at when they fell in terms of history, the moment their nation fell, the biggest thing they saw that was affected their country was the feminizing of the country and the weakening of the military. And they went hand in hand. When they're feminizing the country, feminizing the military, weakening the military, the overall country is weakened, and eventually it will fall and it crumbles. And you're seeing it happening right now in America. These are crazy times we're living in right now, historical times we're living in, it's biblical times, even times we're living in, if you look at it in terms of revelations and, on and on and on and on. So, I'm hopefully, the fight, Rand Paul, real patriot out there fighting for us. Hopefully they can get that done where they get that whole vaccine mandate lifted off the military, and we can do it with school system as well. Start getting the youth just to go to school to have a vaccine mandate, and they're getting all kinds of boosters added on to that. The military is just the original vaccine. That's all they got to take. With the public school system, they want them to take all kinds of boosters and everything else. So we all know what it is. We saw the whole, people out there died suddenly, and what that was all about. That documentary, if you haven't seen it, go see it. It talks about depopulation, and a lot of these globalists out there have been talking about this for decades, and we're witnessing that now in front of our faces. It's almost pretty obvious. So I'm glad that we have people out there still fighting for our military and their rights, as well as our children's rights and American citizens out there in general. So that's all I really had to say for today. Hope you guys enjoyed the podcast. I'll be coming back on a regular basis. I've been running around a lot lately, just doing the campaigning and just dealing with New York and what's been going on here. It's been insane in New York with the mandates and, everything that's been going on. And, just staying here has been a struggle, but I'm getting my feet in the ground and I'm still fighting the good fight. And there's big things planned in the future here for New York, for the Conservative Republican Alliance, of course, for myself. I have big announcements. If you guys, some of you who've been following me online, see, I've been posting some pictures of me with a green screen behind me about future big announcements. That's coming up very soon. So stay tuned. We got big plans, and I got some real patriots here in New York, that have been fighters, from Jay Brooklyn and Tina Forte. We got plans for the future together. So stay tuned, everybody. And like always, may God bless everybody out there listening, and may God bless the United States of America. Peace out.